Welcome back, everybody. Today we're taking a deep dive into Boeing.
Go Boeing.
Yeah, it's a big one, and the question on everybody's mind is, are Boeing's problems beyond repair?
It's a good question.
It is,
Yeah.
and there's this fascinating article from Source Name called "Are Boeing's Problems Beyond Fixable?" And well, from what we're seeing with strikes and crashes, financial woes, and then you've got those ongoing quality control issues.
It's not looking good.
Not looking good at all. They're even calling Boeing a titan in crisis.
Which isn't an exaggeration when you think about how much of the world relies on them and Airbus.
Right, exactly, because it's basically just those two.
Yeah. The only real competition.
Yeah, so it is kind of a titan, and they're in crisis.
And, it really does feel like every time they manage to put out one fire, another one just pops up.
Oh, totally.
The article even compares Boeing to a hydra
Oh, wow.
with, just problem after problem.
Seemingly endless problem.
Seemingly endless.
And did you see that quote from Lufthansa's CEO? He said he's been in the industry for 30 years and he's never seen anything like it.
Yeah, pretty shocking.
To understand how Boeing got here, we need to go back, I guess, to the beginning in a way, with the McDonnell Douglas merger in the late 90s.
Yeah, a lot of experts say that's when things started to shift. The focus moved away from engineering excellence and towards shareholder returns.
So like a cultural shift within Boeing.
Exactly. Leaders like Phil Condit, Harry Stonecipher, and Jim McNerney really championed this more financially driven approach.
So give me an example.
Well, McNerney's program to really squeeze suppliers for profit increase is a perfect example.
Yeah, I remember reading about that.
He didn't just want to negotiate better prices, he wanted suppliers to actually fear him.
Wow.
It kind of puts that shift in priorities into perspective.
Yeah, and that brings us, I guess, to the human cost of these decisions, because the article highlights this really powerful quote from a union member. He talks about how much pressure there was to choose speed over quality. And he says it felt like the bean counters were calling the shots, not the engineers.
That feeling probably played a role in the 737 MAX crashes,
Oh, absolutely.
the 346 lives that were lost.
It's just heartbreaking to think about.
Yeah, the worldwide groundings, investigations, and then you have Boeing's guilty plea for misleading regulators about the plane's design.
Yeah, all of that points back to that pressure to prioritize speed over quality.
It does.
And, the fact that the families of the victims are opposing the plea deal, it really shows how deep this runs.
It really does.
They feel it doesn't hold Boeing truly accountable.
It certainly adds another layer of complexity to this situation.
Definitely. And of course, these events and then the impact of the pandemic on air travel, it's all hit Boeing's finances pretty hard.
Very hard.
Now we're talking massive financial losses.
Yeah.
With the company burning through, $10 billion in cash so far this year alone?
A lot of money.
It's a lot. And what's really interesting, though, is that this is where we see a potential turning point for Boeing, a return to its roots.
Okay.
So with the new CEO, Kelly Ortberg, who's an engineer by background at the helm, maybe they can finally address those systemic issues that led to these problems in the first place.
Yeah, it's a pretty stark contrast to the financially focused CEOs of the recent past.
It is.
Even his move from Florida to Seattle to be closer to the factory floor suggests that his priorities might be different.
It definitely feels symbolic, like he's trying to show his commitment to getting back to basics.
It does.
You know what? Early reactions to these moves seem to be pretty positive.
Yeah, Bill George, former CEO of Medtronic, called Ortberg's approach terrific.
He did.
Yeah, and specifically pointed to his presence in Seattle and engagement with the workforce.
That's great. And even Scott Kirby, CEO of United Airlines, who's one of Boeing's biggest customers, is on board with the changes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he called it a pivot back to their roots.
That kind of endorsement from someone who is relying on Boeing to deliver is huge.
It's huge.
It is, but we can't forget about the skepticism that exists, particularly amongst those who have witnessed previous attempts at cultural change within Boeing.
Right. It's like a we've heard this before kind of thing.
Exactly.
Like, for example, that union representative we mentioned earlier, he's seen promises of change come and go.
And he's not alone.
Yeah.
A lot of people feel that way. And let's not forget about the supply chain issues that Boeing is facing.
Oh, right, the supply chain.
With all the disruptions, getting things back on track and making sure those parts and pieces are flowing smoothly.
It's a lot.
To meet those production targets, it's not easy.
It really is a logistical nightmare.
Hard to
It's
find.
not just about getting the parts.
Right.
It's coordinating deliveries, managing inventory, and then ensuring that quality control every step of the way.
Absolutely.
And speaking of quality control, the article really dives into how crucial it is for Boeing to regain that trust,
Oh, yeah.
not only of the airlines,
Hmm.
but the flying public as well.
Yeah, they need to know that Boeing is putting safety and quality above all else.
Right.
And that's not something you can just achieve by saying it.
Nope.
It requires concrete action and a change in how things are done.
They need to recapture that reputation for excellence that Boeing was once known for.
They do.
And while that's a monumental task, it seems like Ortberg's engineering background is giving people hope.
I think so.
Like, he might actually understand how to make that happen.
He gets it. The technical complexities, the importance of rigorous engineering, and the need to empower engineers and workers.
To prioritize quality over shortcuts.
Exactly. And the article even mentions that he's already put a quality plan into action with the FAA.
Oh, wow. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, definitely a step in the right direction.
So we are starting to see some signs of change, but as we know, there's still a long road ahead.
There is.
And one of the biggest challenges on the horizon is the need for a new aircraft.
Oh, yeah.
Because the 737 MAX, even with its return to service, it's still carrying the weight of those tragic crashes.
It is.
And for Boeing to truly compete with Airbus in the long run, they need something fresh.
Yeah.
They need something innovative.
They need a new plane.
A new plane. And the article quotes this analyst who said that the launch of a new aircraft is one of the most important messages we can get from Ortberg.
It would signal that Boeing is focused on the future
Exactly.
and wants to reclaim that position as a leader in aviation technology.
But a new aircraft takes time,
It does.
significant investment, and an unwavering commitment to getting it right.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't just about designing a cool new plane.
No.
It's about ensuring its safety, reliability, efficiency.
Everything.
And all of that has to be done in a way that convinces people to trust the Boeing brand again,
Exactly.
which is a tall order.
It is a tall order,
Yeah.
but for aviation enthusiasts out there, you'll be interested to know that.
Was.
Ortberg is reportedly pushing for a clean sheet design
Oh, wow.
for this new aircraft, potentially leaving the 737 platform behind entirely.
Really?
Yeah, this is a high-stakes game, and while there's no timeline laid out in the article,
Right.
it's clear that this new aircraft is seen as crucial for Boeing's long-term success.
It's like a beacon of hope.
It is.
But they have to navigate some pretty choppy waters to get there.
Right.
And of course, all of this is going to have a major impact on their finances.
Oh, for sure.
We already talked about that $10 billion cash burn, and the article predicts they'll likely continue to eat through those cash reserves in 2025.
Yeah, investors are going to need to be patient
They are.
and trust that these changes will eventually pay off.
And it's important to understand that turning around a company of Boeing's size and complexity, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Definitely.
It requires a sustained effort, a long-term vision,
Yeah.
and a willingness to ride out the turbulence.
Ride out the turbulence.
Exactly. And they have to play the long game. Focus on rebuilding their foundation instead of going after those quick wins.
Which is what they've tried to do in the past.
Right. And at the end of the day, they're putting their faith in Ortberg's leadership.
They are.
One analyst is quoted as saying, "If he can't do it, I don't think anyone can."
Wow.
That's a lot of pressure.
It is.
But it also shows how much people believe that he might be the right person for this incredibly difficult job.
It is a daunting task.
Yeah.
But Ortberg seems to be approaching it with a combination of humility and determination.
He does.
He recognizes the mistakes that were made, the need to reset the culture, and the importance of regaining the trust of everyone involved.
It feels like he's not only trying to bring Boeing back to financial health,
Yeah.
but to rediscover its soul, its sense of purpose.
It's a huge undertaking.
It is. And, you know, it makes you wonder, can a company as massive as Boeing really change its ways?
Yeah, can they really break free from their past?
Can they reemerge, you know, stronger, more innovative, and reclaim their status as a symbol of American ingenuity?
That's the question everyone's asking.
It is.
Yeah, and only time will tell. But what we do know from this deep dive is that Boeing's journey back to stability and maybe even greatness is going to be long and difficult.
It is.
It will require them to completely rethink their approach, recommit to those core values,
Yeah.
and have the full support of their entire workforce, from the engineers to the factory floor.
Everyone.
Everyone. And of course, they need a leader
They do.
who can rally the troops, navigate this complex industry,
Right.
and inspire people with both a clear vision and practical solutions.
So what do you think? Does Kelly Ortberg have what it takes?
He seems to have some of those qualities, But whether he can actually turn Boeing around, I guess that's still up in the air.
It is, and we'll definitely be keeping an eye on this story as it develops in the coming months and years.
We will.
But now we want to hear what you think.
Yeah, what do you think out there?
Can Boeing overcome these challenges and return to their former glory?
What would it take to restore your trust in this once iconic company?
Let us know, because we always encourage our listeners to seek out multiple sources, explore different viewpoints, and develop your own informed opinion. This isn't just about one company. This is a story about the future of air travel, the power of innovation, and what it takes to turn around a titan of industry.
It's a big one.
It is a big one. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep asking those tough questions.
We'll see you next time.